Radio. Raheem here with Abel Sanchez. I mean, the years go back, Coach. I've seen you all over the world. Now we keep rendezvousing in Saudi, which is just indicative of how the boxing world has changed and evolved. You have two Saudi Arabian fighters on the card. That's also, a new advent really in boxing. I haven't seen the Saudis come into the sport like they have in the past 5 years. I'm imagining that it's because the big shows are here and His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh is putting boxing all over the world that young fighters now are finding motivation and inspiration to get into the boxing world. What is it like trading Saudis and the culture of boxing here?
Well, they're obviously they haven't been boxing hasn't been a force here. It's always been soccer and other sports that are mainly played here. The boxing, you're right. I think that Turkey coming into the fray has maybe generated some interest in some of the youth here. The kids that we have are 130 pounders, and they're developing. We have to develop them a little quicker because of the fact that they don't have that background that we have in the States or in some places in Europe. So it's been fun, though. It's been fun because we're able to concentrate on things that we need to do, and they're willing to do what we need them to do, and we're being put on some cards that are unbelievable. There's a plus and a minus to that. Obviously, we're rushing them, but they're looking for results.
You mentioned that they're willing to do the things that you asked them to do, and there's so much culture in boxing, where you're from, the kind of style and the city you're in or the country that you hail from. And because maybe that isn't deep-seated and rooted here, you're kind of dealing with blank slates. Are you happy for that? Is that an advantage to you as a coach?
I've always said as a coach that when we get a fighter or a young man that wants to completely commit to our system, because we all have different systems, to complete to our system, it's a pleasure to work with them, because then there's no arguing, there's no questions, there's no, well, I did it this way before, can I continue to do it this way now? So we are getting a blank slate, and we're able to develop them the way that we think as a coach should be done. I'm fortunate that I've had the little success that I've had in the past that allows me to have a little more influence on that. So I'm having fun doing it again, and hopefully we go far.
Do you think that a Saudi style will develop? You think there's going to be something like the Philly shell or the Saudi sword or something that would be indicative of fighters that come from this region?
No, I think it's all going to depend, because we are getting a blank slate. I think it's all going to depend on the coach that they go with. If they go with, say, a Roger Mayweather or a Floyd type of gym, we're going to have that kind of fighter. If we go with a Salas kind of coaching style, then we're going to have that. For me, you know what my fighters do. You know how I like to train. And I'm going to try to get out as much as I can of the kind of fighter that I want to see.
Well, the Sanchez way may become the Saudi way. It depends on which coach has the biggest impression.
I sure hope so. I sure hope so, because I would love to have another mini Golovkin.
That's it. That's it. There's so much going on in the sport of boxing. Not the least of which I would say is this card itself. I mean, like I said, you have two fighters on the undercard, but the main card is so stacked. Which fight are you most looking forward to seeing once your guys have returned to the locker room?
I had the pleasure and the honor of working for Don King back in the mid-'90s. And Don used to put on the type of cards that they're putting on now, that Turkey is putting on now. We have probably, and I'm not exaggerating, probably the best card that I've seen in a long, long time from top to bottom. The fight I'm looking forward to, obviously, is, for me, obviously, is Brian Norman and Devin Haney. Brian was in our gym for about 4 weeks, 3.5, 4 weeks before the Japanese fight. He's a very knowledgeable young man in the gym. He's got a small group. They come to work and do their job. They don't have entourages. They don't have any kind of distractions on the outside. And I think it's a point in his career where it's time to shine. Devin obviously has had some issues in the past, and I think that moving up to 147 may be the best thing for him, because it's going to just give him that extra weight and extra strength and extra the ability not to have to lose the weight. So that's got to be the gem for Saturday night.
You mentioned Norman's lack of an entourage. kind of his attitude about the sport, which in this current generation, we don't see as much. Guys want an entourage. They want to be flashy. And to be fair, having a big personality gets you a following, which arguably gets you more money. What do you think is the advantage of putting all that to the side and just kind of being a hard hat, nose to the grindstone type of fighter?
I'm going to say Golovkin didn't have a big entourage. Golovkin did his talking inside the ring. Canelo didn't have a big entourage, did his talking inside the ring. Bomac and his group don't have a big entourage, and they do their talking inside the ring. So Terrence has done it very well. Canelo's done it very well, and Golovkin done it very well. It's a matter of you can talk all you want outside. You can do all the promos and all the things you want to do outside, but if you can't perform inside the ring, it doesn't matter. And I think Brian has all the tools to be able to be that next not so known kind of star that may have a big impact in the sport.
What do you think are his advantages on Saturday night? A lot of people will just be getting introduced to him Saturday. I mean, he wasn't the name that people were echoing before his big knockout. You know, what do we see on Saturday night that defines him?
I think because there's no pressure on him. The pressure's on Devin. The pressure's on Devin to perform. Brian is somebody that's being overlooked. And I think that's the big advantage that he does have. He can punch. He can punch. That knockout just wasn't one that he's done in the past. He can punch. And he's solidly built. He's built perfect for a welterweight, maybe junior middleweight at the most. And his attitude outside the ring and inside the ring just impresses me.
Well, you have to expect that if there's one thing that Devin Haney has been training to defend, it's the left hook. He's not going to be surprised by that. If he's able, in fact, to take that away from Brian Norman, what other tools does he have to beat Devin Haney?
I think the pressure that he's going to put on him is going to get to Devin. I think that he's going to be a little more athletic than some of the guys that Devin has fought. Ramirez was a little older in age when he fought him in his last fight. So I think that the fact that Brian's a little younger, a little fresher, no pressure on him, and the pressure that he's going to apply on Devin, he's not going to let him think. He's going to be on him like white on rice. So I see either a controversial decision or a dramatic knockout by Brian Norman.
Wow. You mentioned, this fight as the one you most want to see could easily be the main event. Arguably could, top this card, no question. However, David Benavidez is in that slot against Anthony Yarde, and he's recently said, not that this is a surprise that he feels this way, but he feels like Canelo is afraid of him, that, even though he's in the main event, he probably would be a bigger star if he had gotten that Canelo fight at 68, and he feels like he's been avoided. Do you think that he has a point there?
No. I think that the fact that he's fighting Anthony Yarde, this is what I've been calling for the last 3 or 4 years, that he keeps talking, but he doesn't fight the guys that he needs to eliminate that are up at the top to be able to claim that, to be able to do that. He's fought some very good fighters, don't get me wrong, but in order to corral, let's just say, a Canelo or somebody at the top. And I say this only because we had the same issues with Golovkin. Everybody was, he's ducking this guy and he's ducking that guy. You do what's best for your career, and regardless what anybody thinks. But in David's case, I've said it in the past, is that he needed to eliminate all the possibilities for Canelo. He needed to eliminate all the guys that were a possibility for Canelo to fight. Then he has no choice. Canelo has no choice. He kind of corrals him. He kind of puts him in a corner. The Yarde fight is not an easy fight, but David is a talent. David is a talent, and Anthony's going to be there for him. Anthony's going to give him a tough fight, but at the end, the talent's going to be David Benavidez winning, going away, I think.
Do you need to see what happens Saturday night to know where David Benavidez will chart in the 175-pound division? Obviously, the Bivol fight is out there. Even better, BF. Are you comfortable now saying that he can compete or beat those guys?
No. At 168, dominant. At 175, he's proven that he's not as dominant. Listen, he's got great tools, great hand speed, great combinations, does very well, commands very well in the ring. But does he have the strength and the size to be able to deal with a Bivol or better Biev, or as they're talking about Zurdo moving up to 175? Is he doing enough to be able to do more than just the ability, boxing ability?
I've got to move into the sensational. Of as great a card as this is, it will likely be dwarfed by the amount of attention and promotion that a fight gets in just a few weeks, being Anthony Joshua facing Jake Paul. That's a real thing. It's happening, and the noise has already begun. What was your immediate reaction when you heard this fight was actually going to go down?
Well, I've never been a fan of these spectacles or sideshows. But listen, Paul is doing what a lot of guys wish they could do. He's got a gig going. He's got a great gig going. He's making some money. I think Anthony will be too much of a fighter for him. I've said in the past that Jake needed to fight somebody that was in the actual top 10, of whatever division he was fighting in. Now he's like taking a huge leap. I'm not going to be one of those people that say he's going to kill him or he's going to hurt him real bad, but Anthony is head and shoulders above Jake Paul, and this should be an easy fight for Anthony Joshua.
Do not roll your eyes when I ask this question, but to be fair, there are two fighters in the ring. The question deserves to be asked: is there a way Jake Paul is victorious on December 19th?
Yeah, spike AJ's drinks. Listen, Tommy Fury beat him. If Tommy Fury was able to decision him, I can't see him coming close to AJ.
Well, this is a sanctioned bout, so technically we're already talking about the heavyweight division. Let me turn your attention to the top of the heavyweight division, the world-class fighters. Obviously, we just saw Joseph Parker and Fabio Wardley, and something of a shocker in the sense that, right there in the 12th, it ended. First of all, did you think that stoppage was correct?
Yeah, I never question stoppages. I'd rather have them. I do think that they're being stopped too early today, but you'd rather end it a punch too early than a punch too late, obviously. But Fabio did it against Huni. I mean, he had no amateur fights. This young man comes into the boxing game with no amateur fights and has been doing well. He's got a good punch. He's patient. The great thing for me is he's been elevated. Now it may give us an opportunity with my heavyweight. So
that's what I was about to go to, is the elevating to the world champion. I mean, it's really a bad chain of events for Joseph Parker. I mean, he takes a fight voluntarily. Granted, credit to him, a very tough one. Loses that fight when he could have sat out and been elevated himself. And then on the heels of that, I mean, this is the biggest shocker I've seen in some time when it comes to a test coming back for adverse findings. Cocaine.
It's crazy, huh?
I mean,
it's crazy.
What was your reaction to that? I was actually shocked, and we've seen it all.
I was shocked too. I would have never thought it had come from that camp, from Andy's camp. So it was shocking, but it's just nothing that shocks you today in boxing. There's so many strange things going on. But I'll tell you what, I'll be a hypocrite and go back to what I said about David Benavidez being elevated to a champion. I said that he should have fought the number 2 contender, number 1 and number 2 fighting. And he got elevated. So it's for us, it's a plus because we are put in position now with Hrgovic to be able to be challenging for a title now that Wardley's up. I would have liked for that to have been for a title fight, Fabio against Hrgovic. But this way, it puts us in a position where we may get a shot at him. So, hypocrite or not hypocrite, it's working out for us, so it's okay.
Like you said, you do what's best for your career and forget what everybody else says. But on this point, it's not cocaine, a performance-enhancing drug. It is a recreational drug. It is listed as such. Again, the B sample still has to be tested. Maybe something's gone wrong, so we still have to say allegedly, even though one has come back adverse. What could possibly be going on in a fighter's mind that would have him ingest a drug like cocaine, which would have to have been on fight week?
Two things. Has there ever been a B sample that's come back opposite of what the A sample was? No. Okay. Second, what could have possessed him to do that? The fact that he came in so overweight tells me that there was issues somehow some issues in camp, some issues in what he was doing, some issues in his thinking. That wasn't his weight. I mean, he came in, 20 pounds over what he normally weighs, 240 something. So there had to have been something going on in camp.
And lastly, as I know your fighters are awaiting, it's all up to Usyk what happens in the heavyweight division, which is why Fabio Wardley is now world champion. Where do you think Usyk goes from here, being that he's vacated? What's the challenge he's looking for?
There's no challenges. I think it's time for him to, and I think he realizes that. I think his people do. There's no more boogeyman out there for him. You know, he's the man, and he retires. He's one of the greatest heavyweights we have seen anyway. Muhammad Ali would always be my greatest, but he's obviously accomplished a lot. He beat one of my guys in a cruiserweight fight, so I have a lot of respect for him.
Well, we in the boxing community have a lot of respect for you. You've trained some incredible fighters. You're always a wealth of wisdom. I appreciate the time. Radio Raheem with Abel Sanchez.